Hi gardening friends, I wanted to give a quick update on what I'm growing on the deck this summer. So I grow all of my vegetables in whiskey barrels, grow bags, and pots on the deck. And for the first time this year, I did move some of the grow bags out into the yard. So anyway, let's start on the deck and we can go through what I have planted up. So in these pots I have a bunch of peppers. I think I have like 3 pepper plants planted this year. 3 roasting peppers. So in this container I have a variety that I've grown for many years. It's called Sunset Italian sweet pepper, and this happens to be the red variety. And most of these plants have been planted outdoors for about 7 days to maybe 10 days. It's been pretty cool, so things are growing pretty slowly, but once it warms up, these peppers will start to take off. And then this one is actually one that I'll be growing for the first time this year. It's called Corno di Toro, and it's a roasting pepper, and this happens to be the yellow variety. And in this one is the same, it's just the red variety. So it's the Coronado, I'm gonna say it wrong, Corno di Toro roasting pepper. So in this whiskey barrel I have a few things actually planted. I have bell peppers. So this bell pepper is one called Purple Beauty that I'm growing for the first time. And then these 2 are Golden California Wonder. And again, these were just planted maybe a week ago, and it's been really cool weather, so they'll start to take off once the weather warms up. And you'll see right there, this has actually started to get some blossoms, and I'll come through and I'll remove those to give the plant a chance to grow stronger. I actually have romaine lettuce here. This is called Sweetie Baby Romaine, and these were just extra plants that I had left over after I did some thinning. I just threw them into this barrel so they could grow, and they seem to really like their life here. And then what you hear, these are the leftover onion starts that I have, and I'll eventually get rid of them, but I just keep them around in case I want to do a little bit of companion planting with them. So in this grow bag I have bush beans that I actually started. I direct sowed these, so these were planted right into the grow bags. I did not start these indoors. And here, these are more bush beans that I've planted, and these are, I think they're Provider is the type of bush bean that I have here, is a variety. And in this bag I have 2 types of cucumbers that I will grow, and these are vining cucumbers, so I'll be adding a trellis to this grow bag as they start to get a little bit larger. In the 3 whiskey barrels I actually have tomatoes. So this tomato variety is called Flamme, and it is a slicing tomato. This is the first time I've ever grown this tomato. It is a heirloom tomato as well, so it'll be exciting to see what that produces. And you can see I've done a little bit of companion planting with some Genovese basil, and there's a little French marigold to help keep down the pest pressure. And in this whiskey barrel, probably my favorite tomato, heirloom tomato, Cherokee Purple, is doing well. Also companion planted with basil and French marigold. And then in the last whiskey barrel I actually have some cherry tomatoes and I don't remember which variety. Okay, so this one is called a Chadwick cherry. Again, this is an heirloom tomato. I buy all of my tomato seeds from tomatofest.com, and they specialize in heirloom tomato seeds. And then this one, which I forget, this is called sweet orange cherry. So this will be the first time that I've grown both of these, so it'll be really exciting to see how it produces. And again, either side or companion planted with a French marigold as well as a little bit of Genovese basil. And then here I have these 3-gallon pots that I have paste tomatoes. The one in the front is San Marzano, and I've grown those. This is my second year. Very prolific, produced a lot of great tomatoes last year. So I went again with that. And then over here is one that I'm growing for the first time, and it is called Martino Romo. So this will be the first time that I've grown that tomato. And then this last tomato is actually a Brandywine. It's Brandywine OTV. It's a red variety of slicing tomato. And just note, Brandywine tomatoes have a different leaf structure. It's actually a potato leaf tomato. And again, it's an heirloom, but the leaf structure is very different than what you would typically see on most tomatoes. More of the lacy look of the tomatoes versus what's considered a potato leaf. In these planter boxes in the early spring, I planted up a bunch of lettuce. And in this container, these are just planter boxes that you can get at the big box store. And you can see I'm able to grow a fair amount of lettuce in a small space. And this particular variety of the romaine is called Sweetie Baby. And again, these were started from seed. And then in this container, this variety is called Garden Babies Butterhead. So it's a very attractive and decorative lettuce. Has a buttery taste. Really enjoyed both of these so far. And I've just been harvesting in a come and come fashion. So I trim off whatever leaves I need, but I leave the main stalk of the plant here so it can continue to grow. And then right next to that I have some southern Georgia collards. I actually had 2 grow bags of collards. I did remove one bag. I just pulled the plant. The pest pressure is starting to heat up a little bit. You can see on this plant where, you know, the pests have had a little bit of a feast on some of these. So I will continue to do a little bit of cut and come. So I'll remove as many leaves as I need, you know, for the meal, and leave the plant here to grow for the rest of the summer. Probably in another couple of weeks, I'll pull these plants all together, and I think I'm going to plant more bush beans in these pots and let those grow for the rest of the summer. And next I have several varieties of strawberries. I'm not going to go through each variety. These are the $1.25 pots that you can get at the Dollar Tree store, and the stackable pots. And I just have 5 pots stacked on each other, and they're just planted up with my strawberries. And you can see there are some that are really early in development. And these 2 pots, well, this is a blueberry that I bought last year, and it did not do very well. Didn't get any blueberries off of it, and I thought the plant had died, but it started to shoot growth this year. So this is really a recovery year for this blueberry. I don't remember the variety, but hopefully it will come back stronger next year. And same story with the raspberries here. They really had a tough year last year. I don't think I watered this enough, and especially being in the terracotta pot, they tend to dry out a little bit more. So it's coming back really nicely, so hopefully next year it will produce raspberries. And then my latest addition to the garden, which I'm pretty excited about, is this green stalk tower planter. And I know you've probably all heard about the green stalk, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but they actually, for their Mother's Day sale, they had released the version that only has 3 tiers. I didn't want the taller version on the deck. I thought it would be, too tall, looking out over the railing of the deck. So the 3-tier was perfect, and I've planted this up mostly with herbs. So there is a little bit of lemon basil, there's thyme, there's some common sage. Over here you have some common chives, and I actually transplanted these from another pot. So there's the common chives, there's a basil, there's a little bit of lemon balm. I actually started a few carrot seeds. I think you can see the plants. The seeds have germinated, so we'll see how well those do. And if we spin this around, I planted some nasturtium seeds. We'll see if those come up. Those seeds were pretty old, so I'm not sure that they'll come up. There's more bush beans that I planted here, and you can see they've germinated and they've started to grow a bit. There's more down here. And again, this is more Genovese basil. A little bit of oregano. There's a lemon balm. And so this has 18 compartments, which is just enough, I think, for me. And again, I didn't want the tall tower. I thought that would be too much on this deck. So I'm really pleased with it so far. Again, this is my first year growing with it, so we'll see how it does. Now, this is everything that I have on the deck, and I've tried to start to expand the things that I grow on the deck. So I've moved some of the grow bags out into the yard. So let's go over here and take a look at what's growing over there. Before we get all the way there, I wanted to share with you, these are my cantaloupe, and I started these indoor and they didn't do well indoor, and I don't know, they're just not doing too well. I know we've had really cool weather, so maybe once it warms up a bit, they'll do a little bit better. And then in this bag, this is the watermelon, Sugar Baby. Same story, started these indoors, but they didn't really take off indoors, and they really seem to be struggling outdoors. But we'll give them a little more time and see how it works out. So these are some more strawberries that blueberries that I bought this year, because I wasn't quite sure if the other blueberry was going to come back. So this one is called Pink Icing, and as you can see, it looks like I am going to have some strawberries. And then here's the second plant that I bought this year, and this one is called Perpetua, and there appears to be just a few berries on this plant, so I'm pretty excited about that if I actually end up with strawberries. And then planted over here are my onions. This is Walla Walla. You can see they're doing pretty well. I've tried something different this year. I'm feeding them weekly with blood meal to see if that will increase their size, and they seem to be doing pretty well. These are potatoes, Yukon Gold potatoes that I started this spring, and again, they seem to be doing pretty well. There's more Walla Walla, and there's 3 containers, more Yukon Gold potatoes. Seem to be thriving and enjoying their lives right now. More Yukon Gold. These look a little bit smaller than the other 2 bags. I'm not quite sure why. And then in this bag, this is the yellow Spanish sweet onion. And then in the last bag, these are just a hybrid red onion that I'll be growing for the first time. So I have the onions and the potatoes here together in the form of companion planting, hoping that the onions will keep the pest pressure down a bit on the potatoes. So that's what I'm growing in my veggie garden today. Thanks for watching.